topic 2, that's about learning a first language and the role of first language. Okay, here, language acquisition is one of the most impressive and fascinating aspects of human development. It is based on background in how languages are learned. Okay, here, the first language acquisition of human happens when a person learning their first language. It refers to mother tongue, which is learned and exposed from birth. The first sounds of a baby are various types of crying. An experienced mother knows whether the baby is crying because they are tired, hungry, or angry. Then this begins the communication process. Then babies start building their mouth muscle and experiment by making different sounds. While the sounds do not form actual words, the baby will use these words for communication, and they can hear even small differences, such as difference between ba and pa. 1 year old know a handful of basic words that are related to the difficulty, like bye-bye and no. 2 years old expand their vocabulary to where they pronounce 50 words or more. Then, from that point, they start combining words in various formats and patterns to communicate. The patterns are not always correct, but they are almost never nonsensical. In other words, even 2 and 3 years, children combine words in ways that have meaning to them, and they expect to have meaning to their listeners. There are some aspects of language. First is grammatical morphemes. What is morpheme? Morpheme is the smallest part of a word that has meaning. So, for example, like a word meaning, they are divided into 2. They are mean and ing. When we consider various morphemes, kids will learn them in specific order. Also, they can relate and begin making mistakes with words and or morphemes that they learned several months ago. Another aspect of language that are negation. Another language aspect that is learned in predictable stages is negation. And the next stages of language, that is question creation. Question creation, this doesn't include rule, correct questions they memorize from frequent use or hearing. The next is about the role of first language. First language is considered influencing the process of second language acquisition. Because of that, there are 2 terms arise. They are interference and transfer. Interference refers when the first language becomes fluent in second language. The term interference refers to 2 phenomena: psychological use and socio-linguistic use. Another term is transfer. Transfer is divided by 2. There are negative transfer and positive transfer. Negative transfer occurs when the first language structure is different from the second language that is being learned, and it results in correct performance because the second language learners use their old behavior. And then the positive transfer. Positive transfer, on the contrary, produces the correct cues because of equivalence of first language and second language structure. Thank you very much. This is all from me, and I hope it will be useful for you all. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
I'm Supriyanto and I'm from 5A. Today I'm going to discuss about individual differences in learning language. But everyone, we know that everyone has their way to learn language, right? But what are the learner influences for learning language? We will discuss it now. And first is intelligence. We know that everyone has their intelligence, is good or not. And intelligence refers to term and mental ability that measured by an IQ test. And the link between intelligence and language learner is really good because if you have a good intelligence, we are more successful in learning, especially in language learning. But you can see it's behind me. There are a diagram show us about the type of intelligence itself. They good at musical, visual, or they good at speaking or communicate with the other person, and then they are good in their self-knowledge, or playing, or etc. Second is aptitudes refer to the one or person who learn quickly than the other. So when you have a great aptitude, mean you are more easy to learn language learning because you positively or more benefitically when you can learn quickly. You can memorize the other words. There are some components here like identify and memorize some words, like understand easily the function of the particular word, or like you can figure out the grammatical rules, and then you can memorize new words that you get in the classroom, in the language classroom. It's really beneficial the learner to learn fastly in the language learner. And the third is learning style. Everyone has the learning style, their own learning style. I split learning style by three. First is audio. Audio means they can learn as fast as they can using audio, like listen radio, BBC, or listen to music to make them more easy to get the knowledge. And second is visual learning style, like watching a video or watching YouTube to learn more. And then the third is cognitive learning style is something like analysis or historical. And when the influence that is personality, I mean what a personality describe you. Are you introvert or extrovert? If you are extrovert, means you have a good beneficial to learn language learning because extrovert person has easy to communicate with the others, so they can get a more friend to speak, and they can speak practically as much as they want. And then the learner belief and motivation. If you have a good motivation, you can more easy to learn the language learning. And the last is what age are you learning language? Because when you learn language since you was a child, you will get more vocabulary, or you can have a native like fluency. I mean, it's really beneficial then you learn in an adult age, because adult age have like to get the memories, vocabulary or memories, something like knowledge. That's all for me. That's are influenced by the learner in learning teaching, and you can see behind me the one from intelligence till age knowledge. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Zainal Mustafa. I'm from A class in 5th grade. I'm going to present about topic 4. It is the nature of learner language. As you know, that the nature of language become their individual environment and is usually called mother tongue. Not easy to learn foreign language when we think it is not easier. But in other way, there are many strategies to get a foreign language, such as Indonesian people. That the English language become a foreign language. People who accommodate foreign language as second language, speaking in all of language will always give any challenge and obstacles. They often do the mistakes such as sit down. There are some explanations to differentiate those mistakes. First, error and error analysis. We often find the learner doing mistake in speaking, especially for any English learner. It happens because they focus on matter that they want to solve. And maybe happen because they think that they have a good ability in speaking English, so they cannot briefly and confidently speak. But it is still acceptable for the learner when they do mistakes, because by mistake that they can improve their ability and make evaluation. For the teacher, the first they should distinguish either the students do mistake or error. When the students speak and they make grammatical error or wrong pronunciation continuously in the same word or pattern, it called that is error. Error happens because lack knowledge or they have not knowledge before, and the student do not know the true one. But if the students do it once or twice and have remember it, we call it is mistakes. It happens when the students sleep down or forget the pattern at that time. Error evaluation is necessary to see whether or not the learner does the mistakes. We cannot simply decide that what they do is universal error, because for the learner, sometimes they have different style in speaking English. For example, the people change the preposition in to be on, but it has same meaning, so we have to evaluate the error by seeing the intonation and rhythm of them when they speak, or even seeing the difficulty of the students and analyze where they do the mistakes. And the second is variability in the learner language. This kind of thing is kind of the way how the learner arrange the sentence in communicative language practice or speaking. The error usually happens in grammatical, because of speaking and learning language is kind of systematic way. So the learner should develop their own ability by learning for their error and mistake. The error and mistake usually happens in regular and irregular form, because usually they simply add t, et in the end of the verb. Besides that, the mistake or error usually happens in singular or plural noun, because sometimes they just add s or es. However, some of the plural noun is different, such as mouse. This is become mice. Okay, this all of my presentation. I do apologize if I have a mistake. The last say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Kediri Mansur. You can call me Vinda. I am from TBI 5th semester A class. Okay. Here I'm going to tell about interlanguage. Actually, before I'm going to tell you about interlanguage, actually I don't really understand about interlanguage, but I will try to explain about interlanguage. Okay, interlanguage is the systematic development of learner language reflect a mental system of second language learning. For the some sources interlanguage that like the people talk about the language, but the language is wrong. But in this material, interlanguage is the systematic development of learning language. So the conclusion, I take the conclusion is, if we say it is language Indonesia, is not. But if we say it is language English, is not also. So interlanguage among between them. I mean interlanguage among between language Indonesia and language English. Okay, before we learn more about interlanguage, we must learn first about the theory. For the first theory is about behaviorist learning theory. According to this theory, language learning is like habit. So if we want to learn about language, we must learn more, continue, and continue. Habits are formed when the learners give response to stimuli in environment, and their response get the powerful stimulus so they can remember. If we learn language more and more, continue, we will get the powerful stimulus so we can remember about the learning that we can learn. And then for the second theory is about a mentalist theory of language learning. In the mentalist theory, there are 4 points. For the first, in learning language, only human who can learn of language. If you know that aspect the human, they cannot learn language well. So learning language, only human who can learn of language. And then B, the mind of human completely with a faculty for learning language that commonly called language acquisition. Okay, most of the people the people that we can learn about interlanguage or language acquisition just in the faculty. And then see, the first determinant of language acquisition is the faculty. So the faculty become the first determinant. And then D, the criticism is needed, but only to trigger the language operation. We need the criticism, but just to trigger the language operation. Okay. What is interlanguage? According to Larry Selinger, in recognition of the fact that second language learner construct a linguistic system that throw art on the learner's L1, but is also different from it and also from the target language. Okay. The meaning, it means that second language learner construct a linguistic system that throw art and the learner L1. Okay, and then about concept. Okay, concept interlanguage. For the first, the learner must construct a rule of system linguistic abstract that underlie comprehension and production. So the learner must construct a rule system language so that get the comprehension and production of learning second language. And then B, the learner grammatical is understandable. The learner grammatical must well. And then C, the learner's grammatical is transitional, that can change from one time to another time. It means that the learner grammatical that can change from one time to another time. And then some researchers decide that the learner construct the system that contain variable rules. It means that if the learner make the construct of system linguistic, there is that contain variable rules, and then the learner use the various learning strategies to develop their interlanguage. The learner grammatical is likely fuzzy. Okay, thank you very much for my presentations. Thank for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Kediri from 5th semester A class. Now I'm going to talk about observing learning and teaching in the second language classroom. There are 3 points. For first, natural and instructional settings. Natural acquisition context should be understood as those in which the learner is exposed to the language at work or in social interaction. Communicative, content-based, and task-based. Instructional environments also involve learners' goals in learning the language itself. There are 3 points of this. The first is, in natural acquisition settings, learners must often use their limited second language ability to respond to questions and to get information. The second is in structure-based instructional settings. The events and activities that are typical of structure-based instructional differ from those encouraged in natural acquisition settings. The third is in communicative instructional settings. The emphasis is on the communication of meaning, both between teacher and students and among the students themselves in group or paired work. The second is observation scenes. Differ in several respects, including the number of categories they contain, whether they focus on qualitative or quantitative description, and whether they are used throughout a lesson or selected samples of classroom interaction. There are 3 points of this one. The first, classroom comparison, teacher-student interaction. The purpose of interaction is the teacher gives the material to the students. And the second is classroom comparison, student and student interaction. Focus on the specific feature of classroom interaction and interaction. And the third is corrective feedback in the classroom. Teacher gives an error and also examines student applicant indication that the student has noticed the feedback. So it means the teacher gives feedback of the activity from the teacher. And the last is question in the classroom. Teachers' questioning behavior has been focused of a good deal of research in second language classroom. Questions are fundamental and engaging student interaction and in exploring how much they understand. This way to measure the students' understanding. The last in ethnography. Ethnography is way of observing, teaching and learning without a set of predetermined categories. So just come and we can know that naturally. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.